So here is section 5.4 exercise 72, and we're asked to find the extreme points and points of inflection. And so in 72 we have f of x is equal to e to the x minus e to the minus x over 2. Now what we've seen or know is that that's actually just the definition of the hyperbolic sine function, but it's just an exponential. So let's take its derivative, f prime of x. And well, we have the 1/2 that we just carry around, and then we have an e to the x and a minus e to the minus x times the derivative of minus x, which is -1. And so we get 1/2 e to the x plus e to the minus x. Now, as I look at that, if I set that equal to 0, well, that's not going to happen. E to the x is always greater than 0, and e to the minus x is always greater than 0. And so that's never going to equal 0. And so there are no first order critical numbers. Okay. And so then let's take a look at f double prime of x. Well, again, that's a 1/2 out in front. That double prime look a little better. We get e to the x, and then again we get plus e to the minus x times the -1 for that chain rule. And so we have 1/2 e to the x minus e to the minus x. And we set that equal to 0. And we see that, well, I can multiply both sides by 2, and then we get e to the x needs to equal e to the minus x. Well, you can think of that as taking the logarithm of both sides, but you can also just say, well, I've got the exponents have to be equal if it's the same base here. So whether you think of it as taking the logarithm of e to the x is equal to taking the logarithm of e to the minus x, or if you just think of it as, well, the bases are the same, so the exponents have to be equal, we get to x equals minus x, and the only time that happens, of course, is if x equals 0. So our second order critical numbers are, well, it's really just is, our second order critical number is x equals 0. And now this asks for points of inflection and relative extrema. So now to make sure I've got a point of inflection, I come back here and I think, well, if this is 0, right, the slope is 1, I think, right? If that's 0, I get 2 over 2, which is 1, and so this thing is increasing. So we do have an inflection point, so an inflection point at 0, f of 0, and that's at 0, and what the heck was f again? It was e to the 0 minus e to the 0 over 2, I believe, right? Yep, okay. And so that is at 0, 0. And so there's our point of inflection, and there were no critical numbers.